These Tibetan refugees pose for a photograph in Champa, Himachal Pradesh, in the northwestern state of India. Over 30,000 Tibetans labored on building roads since coming into exile. Many remained in road working camps for decades, as others moved into village settlement camps where farming and small-scale handicraft became their chief occupations. These brave men, whose survival depended on having a paying job and paving dangerous mountain roads, became the only immediate available source of income. During the war between India and China in 1962, many refugees underwent again the trauma and threat of casualties that were taking place along the boundaries of Tibet and India, where much of the road building projects lay. Life in these road building projects became a serious risk to the Tibetans, whose limited experience and lack of proper tools and safety equipment proved fatal in many cases, with falling boulders from the explosion of dynamites and landmines. Here, a bridge is built by the road workers in the Tibetan architecture of bridge building. The architect here is basic, in contrast to the elaborate structures seen in Tibet. Bridge construction in Tibet originated with Thangdong Gyabo, a spiritual master engineer who built over 100 iron bridges, as well as wooden kinds, over some of the deepest gorges in Tibet during the 14th century. Some of these original structures are still today prevalent and in use in various parts of Tibet and Bhutan. A group of laborers performing the difficult task of digging and removing rocks in the former kingdom of Sikkim. In 1959, during the Tibetan Exodus, Sikkim Princess Pema Tsedun and Princess Hunzen brought over 3,000 Tibetans to Sikkim from the Missamari transit camp. The Tibetan refugees in Sikkim became the first road building crews carried out by the Central Public Works Department of the Government of India. This white car is that of the visiting Indian doctor providing medical aid for the road workers. Seen here are Tibetan women road workers in Manali, Indian state of Himachal Pradesh. The women equally suffered alongside their men while taking care of their families. As in the words of His Holiness, children, women, and men were working side by side in groups. Former nuns, farmers, monks, and officials all thrown together. They had to endure a full day's hard physical toil under a mighty sun, followed by nights crammed into tiny tents. Here, a road working family take a break for a meal that is cooked out in the open. In fact, life was all out in the open for Tibetans for many difficult years. The hard-working, resilient nature of Tibetans have proven that from nothing they have become one of the world's most successful refugee communities. As such, Tibetans have become a model for other refugee communities of the world. In the initial years since 1959, children lived and worked with their parents in these rough and unhealthy conditions. Immediately upon learning of these serious developments, His Holiness took a personal interest in removing the children from these roadside camps. Tibetan schools were established in Dharamsala, Mussoorie, Dalhousie, Darjeeling, Kalimpong, and in other places to cater to their education and welfare. A group of road workers in Sikkim survive in tents. The Tibetans are credited for building roads in North Sikkim that lead up to the border areas of Tibet. Places such as Lachen, Lachung, Yumthang, and Nadela, to name a few, where Tibetans constructed highways. In 1978, the Kunpenling Tibetan settlement was founded with a present population of about 1,100 Tibetans. Their occupation, now agricultural based, is spread over 328 acres in southern Sikkim. The tattered tents were no protection against the punishing rain, wind, dust, heat, and cold, to say the least. Sadly, hundreds of Tibetans perished during the early years of settlement. The health of the workers suffered greatly due to the poor living conditions. Tuberculosis was rampant and made even worse by a poor diet with little access to medical facilities. Tragically, alcoholism was a byproduct of this period, as many Tibetans turned to alcohol to cope with the traumatic circumstances while undergoing these harsh living conditions of road encampment. Many became mentally unstable from the loss of Tibet and the sudden, unexpected life of hardship.